I think one of the phrases that sets people up the most to be abused by their parents is, you need to love your parents no matter what. Blood is thicker than water. You only get one mom, you only get one dad. I think those phrases, that pressure from the outside community, is what sets people up for years worth of abuse, that, is very, tough to undo. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I've been counseling men and women who have been victims and perpetrators of abuse for many years now. And one of the things that I want to talk about is the psychological manipulation of using, just certain languages to pressure adult children, or even children, right? Children and adolescents, to go back into a home or a situation with your parents that is psychologically harmful, much less it might even be physically, sexually, or even financially harmful. And, I don't know that people understand the magnitude of harm that they're doing when they are essentially shaming you, or they're pressuring you to go back into a situation with people that do not treat you very well by saying, you know what, you need to love your parents unconditionally. You need to honor thy mother, honor thy father, because that's what religion teaches us. You only get one mom, one dad. There's all these phrases. It's interesting the amount of phrases they have for children or even adult children. But when it comes to parents, I don't know if you ever, if seldom ever really hear sort of those same type of phrases, or that same type of pressure from the family. You know what, mom, you've only got one daughter, or you've only got one child named whatever. So you need to kind of work on things and make it your due diligence. There's very seldom, and there's not really this sort of the same sort of funneling of pressure to parents to do better parenting, right? In fact, I can't tell you, even in my posts about abuse and awareness, and you guys can go in and look, there's a number of people that's like, oh my God, when will it stop with the blaming of the parents? When are the children going to apologize to us? And you know what? You people are always saying that everything is abusive and you're blaming the parents and yada, yada, yada. When will you just grow up? There's some sort of variation of that. It's like, oh my gosh, the parents, kids need to get over it already. And you hear that all the time, and I see it all the time, where there's this pressure for children to, again, to be seen and not heard, even as an adult child. I'm your parent. You need to listen to me. You need to obey me. You need to respect me. That sort of verbiage. I'm your mama. You only got one mama, and this and that. And there's supposed to be this sort of blind loyalty, this blind obedience, even to the point, even if it harms you, even if you're feeling psychologically harmed, you are just supposed to suck it up. And I think adult children get that from all sides. You get that from the church community. You get that from the family, the extended family. And, even if you have this level of independence and autonomy and you're a free thinker, and you're like, no, what so-and-so did, what mom and dad did wasn't right. And, I have a right to, be heard. And, again, there's sort of this thing where parents feel like, well, I fed you, I clothed you, I did the best I could do, and this is the thanks I get. And there's, again, that condescending tone, that level of disrespect, I'm not willing to hear it. And I get that. I get that, parents are like, me being a parent was a thankless job. you being a parent was something that you chose to do. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that when they're sort of saying that, or they're sort of leading with that notion that my children owe me. You owe your children because you chose to bring your children into this world. And I'm of the belief, this is my belief, and I know I get a lot of disagreement on it. I'm of the belief that a parent's job is never done. It evolves over time, but it's never done. But I don't think love should be unconditional when children, with children. I think children need to really learn what love is for themselves and then apply that to that relationship with your parents and see if it fits. Not just sort of, walk blindly behind someone that's telling you you're supposed to love, honor, and obey your parents. You're not supposed to do that. As an evolving child, a person that grows into their own, you have to think about what love means for you. And I'm sure if I ask anybody in my comments, everybody's going to have a different definition, because love is really a short word. It's a small word, 4 letters, but it has a big meaning, a plethora of definitions by anyone, by anyone and everyone. So you have to decide for yourself whether or not you love your parents, if you love who they are, if you like your parents as well. Because I think that's also another thing that you need to consider. Do you like who they are as a person? Do your values and their values align? Does your representation of you and their representation of you align? Do your parents respect you? Do they value you as a person? Do they value you as who you are today, as a woman, as a man? Or do they still see you as a boy, as a girl, as a child that needs to stay in a child's place? So just something that I thought about. Thanks so much.